all of you are in for an extra special, exciting surprise. One of my all-time favorites. One of the great actresses of genre cinema. Please welcome down Barbara Crampton. Yeah!
You should have quit while you were ahead. That will become clear to you later.
How did you get roped into the insanity of Reanimator?
I actually was a replacement cast member because the woman who was cast to play my part, she was kind of young, and her mother read the script and said, "You're not doing this movie." And so they had another audition, another casting call, and I came in and I read with, Jeffrey was already cast, and then Bruce Abbott and I both came in with some other people, and it was kind of like a chemistry reading, and we all had good chemistry. And
I can say this movie would not work without you.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular you remember from the filming that was particularly pertinent to these people watching the movie tonight?
Well, it's probably fitting that we're here watching it at midnight. You all should be asleep. But Stuart Gordon was famous for not stopping filming. It didn't matter that actors had to work a certain number of hours, and Tony Dublin, who's here, okay, 9-10 hour days, whatever. No, these were 15 and 16-hour days most of the time. We shot for 22 or 23 days, and it was right before Christmas. And I remember it was Christmas Eve when we finished, and we needed to be done, man. I mean, holiday coming up. I was getting on a plane, and I was going to go to England on this theatrical tour, and I think I got done at maybe 6 or 7 in the morning, and then my plane took off at lunchtime that day. He would just not stop filming. I made more money in overtime on that movie than I made on the movie. He would just, he didn't understand that people needed to take a break. He was that passionate about it. Also, I think if Stuart could play every part in the movie, he would. Different directors direct differently, and you kind of have to be in their movie however they want to direct. And some directors just kind of give license to their actors to do what they want to do, and some really work with you and are, just will rehearse with you and whatever. But Stuart had in his mind the way that he wanted the scene to go, and basically we were in Stuart Gordon's mind the whole time, and he was, very, very much in a forceful way saying, I really want you to do the scene like this or do that, but he was always right. We would go, well, no, I don't know if I want to do it like that. And he'd go, no, that's really gonna work. You should do it like that. Well, I'm not sure if I should cry at this moment. No, you should cry. You should cry more tears. And there was also one other little thing I'll leave you with. We had a catchphrase for Stuart, and that was "more is not enough." More screaming, more blood, more crying, more sex. I mean, those of you who know.
I mean, that's everything we love, right? So you worked with Stuart quite a few more times. Was he like that on all of the sets?
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like when you're watching a Stuart Gordon movie, you know it's a Stuart Gordon movie. So, there's a flavor there, and I feel like Mick Garris actually said this to me once. He felt like Stuart's movies were highly operatic, and I think that's accurate. He came from the theater, so when he first did Reanimator, he just wanted you to, it's show and tell, but he wanted you to show a lot. And it was, the acting was big, the blood was a lot. he wanted you to experience something in a visceral way, in a very strong way. So everything felt kind of big. I mean, our acting is kind of big, the scenes are big. Jeffrey Combs, bless him, he acts up a storm in this movie, and he's big, and you love it, but I think he kind of, with Castle Freak, I think, after From Beyond and then with Castle Freak, I think he wanted it to be a little bit more toned down, but not too much toned down.
Do you remember the first time you saw this movie? Like when you saw it, did you go, oh, that was the tone he was going for?
Yeah. Well, it was, I remember seeing it and thinking it was very over the top. I believe that I saw it at the El Capitan Theater. I think that's where it premiered. And, but we had seen dailies. I mean, they invited us to watch the dailies. We had dailies back then. And I saw a lot of what was going to be in the movie. So nothing really surprised me or shocked me, surprisingly enough. It didn't really. I thought it was pretty good.
So we're going to step aside from Reanimator. Earlier this month, we screened Body Double at
Yeah.
midnight, so it's kind of like a Barbara Crampton month. Do you have any stories from that?
Well, I will tell you. I had more scenes in that movie when I accepted the role. The night before, I got a call. All of your dialogue scenes have been cut. Would you still like to do the movie? This was the night before. And at the time, I didn't think, were they just planning this all along? Or, I don't know. Is this really true? Anyway, it was Brian De Palma. And I thought, I've got to work with Brian De Palma. Whatever. And I did it. And so, I had the one scene in the movie, and it's basically, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm doing. And then there's a close-up of my face, and then that's it. It was exciting to be on a set with Brian De Palma. We did that scene all day. He was another person. He had probably a few months to shoot that whole movie, and we did that one scene all day. That was like 6 or 8 hours of that.
So it was a little different than the Reanimator set.
Yeah, a little bit different. But, Brian was super nice, and I started dating the first AD, Joe Napolitano, on that movie, and then I had a party, and then Brian came to my party, and then a few years later I was at a restaurant, and Brian came up to me, and we had a chat, so we stayed friendly.
Oh my goodness. What are you working on now?
Well, I'm very excited about this last film we shot over this summer. It's with Joe Lynch. Do you guys know Joe Lynch? Yeah. And I'm surprised he's not here tonight.
I think he's busy editing.
Oh, he is, yeah. So, Dennis Paoli, who worked with Stuart Gordon and wrote Reanimator and From Beyond and Castle Freak, wrote an adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's The Thing on the Doorstep. Now, that's not, hush, went over the crowd. I hope you're excited about it when you see it. And that's not really a great title for a movie, so we changed the title to, it's either going to be called A Suitable Flesh or Suitable Flesh. And it's about an entity that travels through time and takes over different people's bodies. And I think it's really cool. It's very much in the flavor of what you might see tonight, maybe a little more grounded, but super fun. I think that I produced this movie, I'm also in it. I think that Joe Lynch is somebody who's highly capable of taking on the mantle of what Stuart Gordon, does, the kind of films and the kind of verve that he has. And it's a little bit scary, and it's a little bit sexy, and it's a little bit thrilling. So we're in post-production on that now.
Well, I hope that we can play it here when it gets finished.
Please.
So I've already talked to Joe about making a film print, so
Great.
maybe
Yeah.
it'll all work out.
I'm sure it will.
Otherwise, before we get started, is there any last minute thing you need to tell people who are watching the movie for the first time tonight?
Oh my God. I would just say, are you sure you want to be here?
Well, there's no refund, so please give Barbara Crampton another round of applause. So put away your phones, sit back, relax, and enjoy.